I'm Daniel Gross, and this is the number. The number today is 163,000. That's the number of new payroll jobs that were added in the U.S. economy in July. On our special Casual Friday edition, we're joined by John Avlon, my colleague here at Newsweek Daily Beast, to discuss the jobs number and, of course, the political, because this has become sort of the monthly Super Bowl of numbers. Even though, you know, whether there are 100,000 more jobs, 100,000 less jobs in a workforce of 130 million people, doesn't matter, but it has really assumed outsized importance.
No, absolutely, and every first Friday of the month, there's this sort of horse race expectation. We're waiting for the 8:30 bell to see what the implications will be. And the upshot is not just 163,000 new jobs, as you said, but from political purposes, it's that despite that growth, which is almost twice the number of new jobs we had in May, for example, unemployment upticks to 8.3. And from a political perspective, that's going to be the number you're hearing today, especially from the Romney camp, because that creates the impression that the trend is not the president's friend. The trend is moving in the wrong direction. And it's one of the frustrations, I think, non-economic folks have when they look at this data. You see actually fairly robust job growth compared to what it's been in recent months, and yet unemployment goes up.
Right, that's because it's taken from two different components. The jobs payroll figure is the establishment survey. They call up companies and say, how many people do you have on your payroll this month compared with last month? They extrapolate that. That gets us that figure of 163,000 jobs added. For unemployment rate, it's the household survey. They call up a bunch of households and say, hey, you working? Anybody in your house working? Well, how much are you working? And they, you know, are you interested in a job? Are you in the labor force? And then they divide that by the number of people who say they're not, and that gets the unemployment rate. So if more people come back into the labor force, the unemployment rate could tick up even if more people are working. And that sounds like that's what happened this past month. Now,
it seems remarkably unscientific for a data-driven number with such vast importance.
Well, this is all the more reason why you shouldn't be wagering. You know, it's sort of absurd that the stock market can move 100 points, 150 points on one particular number, which, by the way, is subject to revision 30 days from now and 60 days from now. So, you know, we had the revisions today. June's numbers, which were originally, I believe, 80,000, were revised to 64,000 gains. So 16,000 jobs disappeared in June. May was revised up 10,000. So that's sort of a wash. I think that the question now, here we are. It's August 3rd, basically 3 months. This is going to be an economy election. We're told it's going to be a referendum on the economic stewardship, and the way we keep score is through data points like these. But at some point, the data stops mattering because the narrative is sort of cooked. And I think this could be really the last month that matters.
Well, look, you know, political conventional wisdom says it's the second quarter numbers are what people psychologically have in their heads when they go to the polling. With famously in 1992, the first Bush recession had already ended by the time Election Day rolled around, but it didn't matter to voters. They already felt the country was in recession. And certainly there is this continuing frustration with the still struggling economy, even though our country is out of recession. That unemployment number going up doesn't help. I think people will be watching, given the nature of our news cycle and how it's changed up until Election Day. But 8.3 and uptick will be the number that sticks in their heads. Let me ask you a question. One of the things that's been driving the jobs numbers is the private sector keeps growing, but government jobs are the ones that have actually been shedding. And that's very contrary to the narratives we see in our politics.
I knew you were going to ask me that, which is now I'm looking up as we speak in real time.
This is live. This is...
So yes, I've called this the conservative recovery because basically every month for the last 2 years, private sector adds jobs, public sector cuts them. A lot of that has to do with census jobs going away, but basically there are 1 million fewer people working in the public sector for state, local, federal government than there were.
Despite the rhetoric about a growing government, albeit a local rather than federal.
And once again, in July, government cut 9,000 jobs. So total growth was 172,000 private sector jobs added. Government for, I believe, I would say the 28th straight month, perhaps. I will double check this for my column later. Cuts 9,000 jobs. So the conservative recovery is actually intact.
Continues. Manufacturing, modestly good news, right?
25,000 jobs added, and we're going to have to wrap that up. This is the number. Watch us maybe.